Well, one thing's for sure, Robert Osoro is definitely enjoying the music right here on Y in the Morning. We sure hope you are too. If you just tuned in, well, karibu sana to Y in the Morning on Y254. My name is Shiko Kaitani, part of the awesome trio that comes your way every weekday from 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. of Kalami Val, Mr. Barry Moses, and myself. Remember, you can get in touch with us through the numbers that are on your screen. We do have our WhatsApp number indicated, as well as our text line, which is 22162. If you prefer to send in a regular text, we will appreciate it. Please let us know where you're watching us from, and don't forget to leave your name. Now, it's on to our next segment, not about entertainment, but life skills that I believe you and I can definitely use. And on set with me is the one and only Otieno Paul Peter, who is a corporate trainer, speaker, and team building facilitator of Live Your Dream Enterprises. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Chico.
Okay, so now you're 3 in 1. I have to say you're a very pretty busy guy. I have to ask you how you get the time to do all these things. But tell us more about your job description, your JD.
You see, it's really not 3 in 1.
Yeah.
It's one thing.
It's one thing.
The main business I do is to train and equip people.
Yeah.
And that can be done in using different avenues. One is through training, through speaking, through writing. When I facilitate team buildings, it's all about training. It's not what many people expect. It's all about having fun and things like that. Well, there is the fun, but within that fun, there should be something that we take home.
Yeah.
And so it's really not as many as you may want to look at it. It's just one thing.
I'm like, what? So, space to add one more thing.
So my generally, I consider myself to be a teacher or a trainer.
Yes.
And all these other avenues are just but what I use to train, to share knowledge. Yes.
Okay, so now that being said, can you tell us what the mandate of Live Your Dream is all about in specific?
Our mission is simple: to equip and to inspire. We train people. We share with people thoughts and ideas that we believe if they use, they would be able to live their dreams. You know, there is always a gap left between the academics and what you end up achieving. When people are in college, they have wild dreams. They have great dreams.
That's true.
Yeah, it's said that at age 25, everyone is unimaginable. They just can't believe how their life, how great their life is going to be. But if you look at them at age 65, most of them are full of regrets. Actually, it's said that only 1 out of all that achieve their dreams.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And quite a big percentage hardly try. Why? Because people get into the ordinary cycles of life and they start giving up. And so the inspiration behind Live Your Dream is to ensure that as many as possible, the people we interact with, we're able to share the ideas and actually improve their chances of living their dreams.
I think what you've said is so important to me personally, because I'm thinking that even just as human beings, we go through life just doing things subconsciously. You're not really aware of what you're thinking. You're not really aware of your goals. You're not really aware, you know, you really haven't thought about it.
True.
And so I think that's what you mean by, but you get to 64 and then you realize, oh my God, I haven't even done one thing on my list.
You see, many people reach 65 and then they realize that their only investment are probably their children. Oh. You see, they depend on people. They want to depend on the government. Right now, government is gracious enough to give people people who are 70 and above some honoraria. They depend on the social welfare and things like that. People can't take care of themselves.
Right.
And what's the problem? The problem is not that they were not educated enough. They went to school. Some of them are professors. But you realize that they just didn't get it. And most of us do not want to follow them.
Yes.
I know every time you look at some people, you feel like maybe they made some mistake.
Yeah.
But you can't point it. Where did they make the mistake? Which step did they miss?
Yeah, and
You
then
see?
we tend to think the ones who've made it
Yes.
are just the lucky few amongst us.
Yeah,
Yet the
yeah.
only thing that separates us is our determination.
Yeah. So we realize that while we were told as we grew up, education is the key, what they didn't do was to define what education.
That's true.
You see, we tend to concentrate towards the academics. Academics, excellent. But if you did, I don't know what you did, but let's assume you also did some chemistry.
Unfortunately, I had to, but it was.
So where is it
by
applied?
choice, but
Yeah?
it did
If you
not
look
help
at
me.
if you look at Kenya today, are you able to tell me the top 10 most educated people? Are you able to tell me?
No,
Yeah. Now, if I asked you the top 10 richest people,
I can name them.
so where is the problem? How come they are not the same people? Because if they went for education and they got the maximum, then how come they are not the same people? Yeah, there must be some discrepancy somewhere. And now that tells us, because everything can be learned, it tells us that there is a gap that education has left.
Yes.
And that is the conventional education that we go for. Now that's where we come in.
All right, I like you already. You must come back on this show. I've already said it. So let's focus on public speaking here, because I think that is one of the most important skills that, you know, as young people we need to acquire today. But maybe you could start off by telling us what exactly is public speaking, because when you probably mention that term, public speaking, people just think, okay, fine, yeah, you have to be a media personality or you have to be on a microphone. What is it?
Public speaking, simply put, is speaking to public.
Okay.
This is it. Let me explain. You see, many of us, more so the generation of today, we can talk behind the laptop, behind the phone, and all sorts of things. But looking at people in the eye and speaking is a big deal. Now, generally, that is what it is. Public speaking does not necessarily mean you have a very large crowd and you're speaking to them. It's just being able to communicate in public, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's 2 people, 5 people, 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people, you're talking to them.
So why is it so important to acquire these skills?
Let me tell you, there are skills we call life skills. And there are those are the skills, I don't know how to call them. Now, these life skills enable your life to be better. I can't imagine any leader who can't communicate. You see, if you are going to succeed, you know, there are 2 types here. There are people who are in the front and people who are at the back. Most of the times, the technical people are at the back. And I can tell you for sure, because I've been in the technical. My background has to do with physics, and I've done a lot of IT support and things like that. You'll realize that what you will do is to support and help the technical and things like that. But by the end of the day, and even when we are in school, we tend to value this engineering, whatever. But by the end of the day, this person who did BA and all these other ones you did not want to respect, they're the people who determine your salary.
It's true.
So leadership comes in handy, and that is where public speaking is. That's where sales comes in. So if you're going to run any enterprise, you cannot do without public speaking. But if you just want to be at the back end, well, it's okay.
And that's even down, like to just the way we work on every day, day to day. You can't expect to be a HOD, run a department, be in charge of a crew, be in charge of this if you're not. You
see, just like I said, leadership has to do with communication, and it has to do with speaking. There is no communication much without speaking, and that is public speaking. So how will you lead a team if you cannot speak to them? So if you just want to stay at the bottom, it's okay.
That's fine.
But if you have a dream, then you must learn public speaking. At least if you have a dream.
By the way, it's actually very okay to aim low. You know, some people think that, just because some people are not that ambitious, they are bad people or they're failures. No, it's okay. I mean, if you're
you see, that's what we talk about. You see, many of us, we've gone to school, we've studied, we've read big and small books, but we've not been taught what is success. You see, success doesn't have to be a lot of money in the bank.
Right.
Success is being able to achieve what you want to achieve.
It's true.
Yeah. So if yours was to become the best engineer or maybe mechanical engineer in Kenya, and you have a way to gauge and you realize that you've actually become that, you're really successful.
Yes.
If you're
It's
a teacher
true.
and you love your teaching, you love what you're doing, you're actually successful.
You are successful.
Even if you are progressing towards what you wanted to achieve. You see, like somebody said, Al Nightingale, the guy who started the discussion about the strangest secret in the world in 1960s. He said that success is progressively moving towards realizing your dreams. A predetermined, worthy ideal. Okay. You're moving towards realizing it. You're on the journey. You're successful, and you're happy with it.
I like that because it means that every day is another opportunity.
Yes, to move towards what you want to achieve.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I like the fact that you've brought it out that if you want to be in any leadership position, you cannot shy away from this.
There's no way. You cannot.
So it's not specific to particular industries, because like I had said earlier on, for a lot of people, they just think, if I'm going to be doing public speaking, see me him say or media.
For whichever reason. By the way, you can be a media and really not a public speaker.
That's true. Yeah.
Perhaps you just know how to speak to 2 people, 3 people, and that's it. And you will, if you are to speak to a large audience, you'll be having stage fright and all sorts of things. Public speaking is bigger. Yeah. Even when you're taking a reading in public, you're reading before people, like we do in church. That is part of public speaking. You can't really do it well if you've not mastered this skill. Yes. So I can't imagine any facet of life where you're going to do without it. Except perhaps, as I said, if you just like it, you're a monk somewhere, you just like sitting behind. But even as a monk, if you are going to preach to people, that's public speaking.
It's true.
You see?
It really is.
It's hard to imagine success or much success without public speaking. Okay. I can't imagine.
All right, so here I am. I'm an introvert. I say I'm shy. I don't really understand this whole concept of public speaking. There are people who literally faint just from the idea of having to speak in front of people. What would your advice be in terms of what are the first steps to working your way to improving your public speaking skills?
Great. That reminds me, last year I was attending a class, a music class apparently. I was being taught how to do choral conducting, conducting a choir, which I came to realize is still part of public thing. You see, and that the professor who was teaching us from US, he told us, you see, I'm quite an introverted person. I hardly can speak. Then we asked him, but how do you do it? He said, I take it as my job. So because it's my job, I've got to do it.
It's so true.
So one of the things that people do is, it's my job. Somebody has been put to head a department, and you're told you're going to give us a presentation. So you just say, okay, I have to do it to save my job and things like that. And over time, they become good. Now, first step, practice. Okay, this is what I normally give people when I talk about public speaking. Know what you're going to say. And then know how to say it, and then say it well. You see, you may appear and you really don't know what you're going to say, except if you're really good.
And by the way, you have to be
really good, and you've mastered your subject. We call it mastery of the subject. For example, about public speaking, I may not have to prepare anything because I know what I've been doing. I know what I share. And I've mastered it. I can answer questions about public speaking, about training and things like that. So know what you're going to say. If you're thinking of giving a particular speech or talking to a particular audience, the question is, do you really know the subject you're going to talk about? I've seen people Google and then they go present it. And some people go present slides, PowerPoint, and people will be dozing. Why? You don't own it. The moment you don't own what you're speaking, you will be fearful.
That's true.
And you will not be able to communicate it well. And people will somewhat get
People can
bored.
tell
They will not
because
they'll connect with you.
There's something that I
Yeah.
always say, there's this non-verbal communication that goes on. So
Yeah.
audiences are very vicious, even without you knowing. Just from looking at you, I believe they can really tear you apart. So it's you really do have to know.
Yeah.
You do have to know.
If you've known your subject,
Yeah.
you will have won the first battle. At least you've known it.
Yes.
Now know how to speak it.
Yes.
I've seen people
Yeah.
like in the technical world. We can talk of engineering. We can talk of even music.
Yeah.
I attend choirs, and you realize that somebody is technical. He knows music. He knows the knowledge you need to have. But now how to speak it is the problem.
That's the other thing.
He will bombard you with big words,
Yes.
and you can't get it.
Yeah.
And you feel bored, and you feel like
Okay.
you're thrown away.
All right.
So know how to speak it.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So now here comes the next question. How exactly do I go about wanting to know more about public speaking, and how much does it cost to get into something like this?
You see, if you're, it will mostly depend on your area of interest.
Okay.
What do you really want to do with your public
Yeah.
speaking? You just want to improve your confidence.
Yeah.
If you want to just improve your confidence, one, you can always just find an opportunity to practice.
Right.
You can join Toastmaster International.
Oh,
There are all sorts of chapters within Kenya.
Yeah.
They will give you an opportunity to be practicing.
Okay.
Practice for
Makes-
whichever reason
yeah.
makes perfect.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
So by practicing and practicing, you will become one.
Yes.
But if you want to be known for a particular subject, you cannot be a trainer of everything. You cannot be a speaker of everything.
Yes.
People are talking about marital things, you went to speak. People are talking about singles, you went to speak. You are everybody. Yeah.
Quantum physics. You want to speak.
So
Yeah.
get to know your subject.
It's true.
What's my subject?
It's
and then master it.
And master it. And,
Now,
and, yeah.
if you're going to take concrete steps towards becoming that whom we call a public speaker, you may want to have a coach.
Right.
You may want to have somebody to work with you,
Okay.
to give you milestones,
So
to gauge you and things like that.
Oh, okay. So if I don't have any money, what you're saying that it's still possible to
Yes.
actually learn this?
Yes.
All right. And so from forums like Toastmasters,
Yes.
for example.
Yes.
Okay. And so what is your final message to those who truly believe that public speaking is something that you are born with? It's a talent. It cannot be acquired.
Partially, they may be right that some people were naturally born born with that skill.
Yeah.
But there is a fallacy when you hear an argument that it cannot be acquired, it's only reserved for some others.
Yes.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
I learned one thing in life, that all skills are learnable. Nobody was born a driver, but everybody can drive.
Yes.
And some people will become really great drivers
Yes.
and safari rally drivers.
Well, if you drive in Kenya, you can drive anywhere in the
Yes,
world. I think.
if you can drive, for example, in Eastlands, yeah, in Jogoro, you can drive anywhere. You see.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You see, what happens with many people is the fear, and you'll realize that what you fear
Yeah.
does not really exist.
Yes.
So the moment you've mastered your subject and you've started practicing,
Yeah.
and you've chosen to go against what your fear advises you,
Yes.
over time you realize that what you actually feared does not exist.
Wow, this is some powerful stuff. Okay, so I want you to tell us how we can get to know more about you and how to know more about public speaking, just in case
Yes.
there's anyone who wants to learn more. and
Yes,
watching the show.
thank you.
Yeah.
One, getting me is very easy. You only need to Google my name.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay.
If you Google Otieno Paul Peter, you probably will get even my contact email address,
Yeah.
numbers, and everything.
Yeah.
I also have a website, otienopaulpeter.com. And I have, if I'm in social media, you'll
Yes.
get me on LinkedIn, you'll get me on Facebook,
Yes.
on Twitter, among other things,
Yes.
Instagram.
Okay.
So I'm quite accessible.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's fantastic that you've come, because even in terms of real life situations, when you watch interviews by huge stars, Grammy Award winners like Beyonce, one of the shyest people you'll ever see on set. She cannot speak at an interview, which is so funny.
Yeah.
Yet on stage in front of billions,
Yeah.
she's able to perform, and that should tell you something. It's doable.
Yes.
It's doable.
It's doable.
Yeah.
And some of the people whom you think are great stars, they've been doing, even people who performing artists,
Yes.
let me tell you, they started somewhat perhaps in their bathroom.
Yes.
Yeah, and they never imagined they would do it to a live audience. And for whichever reason, you may realize that every time they are going to face that situation, they keep contemplating. But the moment they're there, they throw themselves out, they forget about the audience, and they become great, and people keep telling them, you did it well. You see, now here is one thing I'd like to say for somebody who contemplates speaking in public. And I normally tell people this. Remember that the audience is the most obedient crowd you can ever meet. If you tell them stand up, they'll all stand up. If you tell them raise up your hand, they'll raise up their hands. So you have no reason to fear them. In fact, you can only have fun and engage them. Anything you tell them, everyone, let's close our eyes. You'll see them closing their eyes. So why do you fear? They're there to support you, to listen to you. And by the fact that you're standing there, it means there is something you have that you can share. So that's already is a boost.
Well, I can't thank you enough. That's definitely Otieno Paul Peter, corporate trainer, speaker, and team building facilitator from Live Your Dream Enterprises. You heard it for yourself. It's definitely something that you need to take seriously if you want to, get ahead in life. And I absolutely love your message today, and you're more than welcome back on the program to just talk to us more about public speaking. If you loved this interview, be sure to catch it on our Y254 YouTube page, and you can find this interview under Otieno Paul Peter yet again. Be sure to keep it Y in the morning. There's more to come.